Most people think creativity starts with brilliance. It doesn't. It starts with permission. Permission to move fast, permission to be imperfect, permission to produce before you judge. Right now, your brain has been calibrated for correctness or one right answer. We're about to recalibrate it for possibility. In a moment, I'll give you a simple task. It looks easy, but it won't be. The goal isn't to be artistic. The goal is to generate. Speed over polish, quantity over quality, momentum over mastery. Welcome to an introduction to creative problem solving. Let's warm up your creative mind. What will happen in the next 2 minutes will reveal something powerful about you and how you approach ideas. So grab a blank sheet of paper, draw 30 circles, don't hesitate, don't overthink, don't self-edit. You have 60 seconds to turn many of them as possible into different objects. Ready, set, go. 1 minute is on the clock. How do you feel? Let's set that exercise aside and we'll come back to it later. Today we're going to pull creativity out of the fog and put it into a system you can actually use. Not an art class of creativity, not genius creativity, but professional creativity that helps you each and every day to lead, build, solve, and adapt. Let's start by demystifying the biggest myth of all. When you think of a creative person, you might think of Salvador Dali, Steve Jobs, Bad Bunny, or Taylor Swift. The myth of the creative genius tells us that creativity belongs to a rare and gifted few, a lone visionary struck by sudden inspiration. It paints innovation as effortless, innate, and individual. But what we know and research shows something different. Creativity is not a lightning bolt. It's a process, a muscle shaped by continuous practice. What's in our environment, who we collaborate with, and iteration. Even history's geniuses worked with communities to refine their ideas over time and built on others' contributions. We also call this the search for truth and science. When we believe creativity is a fixed trait, we limit ourselves and human possibilities. When we understand it's a developmental skill that we can unlock through participation, persistence, and possibility for everyone. So what is creativity? Scientists believe that creativity is the production of ideas that are novel and useful. Not mystical, not rare, but a skill. Others frame it as distinct, trainable cognitive skill, but not a personality trait. And in today's AI era, the World Economic Forum suggests this is an important skill because AI can copy technical tasks, but what it can't copy is our judgment, discernment, context, empathy, framing, and taste, the skills that make us uniquely human. And that places creativity as a workplace advantage for you, a skill set that differentiates you from others in the labor market. And here's what we'll be learning in the next 15 minutes. By the end of this mini session, you'll be able to 1, define creative problem solving, 2, use the 4C model to locate your current creative level, to separate divergent and convergent thinking, and to see it as a process, to run a quick personal creative audit so you can apply it to school, work, and life. Let's build that system. What is creative problem solving? Science has defined it as a structured system that uses how humans naturally think to produce innovative solutions. Historically coming from Osborne and Parnes, and later extended by the creative problem solving work groups, the core assumption is that one most people miss: creativity can be learned. It's not a personality trait, it's a practice. Just like going to the gym or yoga, your creative muscle or creative thinking can be enhanced through regular practice. However, creative problem solving isn't a straight line. It's a cycle that you must manage. To dive deeper into what creative problem solving is, we have to understand the process. And this process moves through a 4-stage process called clarifying, ideate, develop, and implement. Think of this as a disciplined loop, not a lightning bolt. So let's break this down. First, we have clarify. We don't rush to solutions. We get the problem right. We ask what's really going on, who's affected, what does better actually mean? Because if we solve the wrong problem brilliantly, you still lose. In business, this might mean doing research, primary, secondary, interviews, data, collection, other data that we have in a clear problem statement. The next step in the process is ideate. When we ideate, we generate options. Not one idea, but many. And we intentionally keep our judgment hats off for a moment so ideas can actually breathe. Building off ideas is critical and can only be done if we do not evaluate them. To build effectively upon others' ideas, it is essential we withhold judgment. We do this so we can create possibilities. The 4th stage is develop. This is where we take the most promising ideas and shape them. We test assumptions, we strengthen the logic, improve feasibility, iterate, agile, scrum, and make it more valuable. Based on our criteria, we might have a short list of the best ideas and then expand on them. And finally, the 4th stage is implement. We implement, we're committed, we still might pilot and iterate and get feedback from the world when it's placed in more of a reality-based setting, and we continue to learn, grow, and iterate and improve that process. I can't emphasize enough that in this engine underneath all 4 stages, there's an expansion and a contraction. An expansion and contraction, meaning expanding, opening up possibilities, add options, increase variety, and contraction, meaning choose, refine, and commit. It's common for people to take shortcuts through the process by contracting too early. If they do this, or often do this in 10 seconds, they're judging and evaluating. And it might sound like, that won't work, we tried that, that'll never go for it. That's judging a newborn idea before it's able to grow or be considered. I know many of you out there have heard this through the criticisms that you have in your own head about your own ideas, maybe from your boss or your colleagues, or even the comment section in your social media. This is all about that inner perfectionist telling us and judging that idea. And that's normal. But we can separate that or fix that process by separating the steps. When we're expanding, we expand. And when we're contracting, we contract. The process will lead to better ideas and solutions. Now that you've understand the process, let's locate what kind of creativity we're actually talking about. Before we go deeper, I want to give you a simple map for creativity, because to be creative sometimes is vague and vaguely stressful. The 4C model shows that creativity isn't one thing. It's a range from personal insight to professional mastery to world-changing work. Once you know where you are on the map, you can train to the next level on purpose instead of hoping inspiration shows up. Understanding the 4 types of creativity allows us to grasp varying degrees of proficiency. First is the mini C. It's the spark. It's the iterative process maybe of something new to you. Understanding something in a new way and making meaning from it. Maybe it's understanding a new concept or formula, exactly like what we're doing. An example of mini C would be, wait, I get it now. That is creativity. The next level is little c, and this is everyday creativity. Practical, impromptu moments, hacks, better workflows, and solving in real constraints. This might be fixing a team process, improving your resume story, or designing a better study system. Now we'll move on to the third C, Pro C. This is where the professionals live. Creativity inside a domain built on deep knowledge. You learn the rules well enough to bend them without breaking reality. This takes years, and because of your professional experience in the domain, allows you to extend that domain knowledge into new areas that might be seen as breaking reality. Now, big C is for the history book level. Think of Einstein, Angelo, Picasso, geniuses plus timing plus luck. Don't obsess over big C, train for Pro C. Through this graph, we can see creativity as a developmental trajectory. Think of it as building the growth mindset over time. It's through this overtime and deliberate practice, you can move from mini C to little c to Pro C. The arrow, or the gap that's highlighted, references the gap is usually not talent. It's the missing reps, practice, missing feedback, missing frameworks, and the iteration. It's about practicing your creative muscle. Now we hit the core skills, 2 thinking models. If you only learn one thing today, learn this. We've been talking about the structure of creative problem solving, but now we're going to train the most underrated muscle in that structure, idea volume. Divergent thinking is your brain in an exploration mode, where the goal isn't to be right, it's to vary and create many ideas. Divergent thinking is generating many diverse options, and the first rule is to defer judgment. Go for quantity and seek wild ideas. We did this through the 30 circles exercises earlier. How many did you make? What was the point of that? Divergence rewards speed and permission, not perfection. If you judged your way midway through your circle making, you limited your ability to create. The 30 circles helped us illustrate the following skill. 1, fluency, the ability to adapt quickly to a high volume of ideas. And 2, flexibility, the ability to develop ideas that are different from one another. When you complete this exercise, you're interacting with these 2 types of ideas. 1, a derivative idea that's developed on the basis of another idea. So think of a baseball, then you draw a basketball, and then a soccer ball. However, distinct ideas are clearly different from one another, unique from each other. It might be a smiley face, it might be a sunshine, it might be a half moon. With a show of hands, how many did more derivative ideas? Iterations off of a similar idea. Did anyone combine circles to make something? Complementing divergent thinking is how we narrow ideas. That's where we're going next. Convergent thinking is selecting and strengthening the best option. From Cropley's idea, use affirmative judgment first. Not what's wrong with it, but what's strong here. Then refine deliberately. Divergent makes options, converge makes decisions. So what's happening in your brain when you do this well? Let's take a look. Creativity isn't one brain setting. It's the ability to switch networks, focused control, and an imaginative wandering. For instance, deliver the golden rule. Separate the steps. Diverge, then converge. Don't do both at once. Think of it as don't drive with the brakes on. Let's see what this looks like in a real scenario. Here's a clear example. Students' engagement is dropping. We can, 1, In phase 1, use diverge. We can come up with many ideas. We can pay students, we can go to beach classes, gamification, or no grades. Then if we were moved to phase 2, converge, we could apply criteria like low cost, accredited activities, and active learning. We can land somewhere with the idea that you select something like gamified syllabus or a student-led module which produces co-created engagement. Now I want you to diagnose your own creative operating system next. Let's use these 3 questions as a mini exercise to your creative audit. Do you over-diverge with too many ideas and no decision and become paralysis in making that decision? Or do you over-converge, too much judgment, not enough options? Think of this question when you're going through your process. Are you most likely a mini C, little c, or pro C for your domain you care about? And then 3, what's the gap? What domain knowledge or repetitions do you need to level up to your next C? Everything we covered is grounded in creativity research and creative problem-solving practice. Creativity is not a personality trait, it's a discipline. It's a skill. It's a muscle you can build. Your job isn't to wait for inspiration. Your job is to run the cycle. Clarify, ideate, develop, implement. And remember, separate the steps. Give your ideas oxygen before you give them judgment. Next time you're stuck this week, ask yourself, do I need to diverge or converge? That question alone will change your outcomes. If you're looking for more supporting materials, I've created a series of blog posts, podcasts, and YouTubes to help you along your journey in evaluating your creativity.